की जय। श्री राम श्रीनिवास श्यामानंद प्रभु जय की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास स्वामी की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री रैटाग्रनाथ शिवासरी गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। शांतवीर मायपू समतवीर कोलवीर जानवीर मोर श्री नवदीप धाम की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। नरसिंह भगवान की जय। भक्तवाल श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। चारों संप्रदाय की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। समागत भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। So today in the UK is the disappearance of Shiva's Pandit. So I'm going to sing page 96, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koramore by Shri Anuradha Thakur. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koramore Toma Bina Ke Dayalo Jagata Samsare Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koramore Toma Bina Ke Dayalo Jagata Samsare Patita Pavana Hetu Tavaya Vatara Mosama Patita Prabhu Napaive Ha ha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi Kripavalokana Karo Ami Varadukhi Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koramore Toma Bina Ke Dayalo Jagata Samsare Daya Koro Sitapati Advaita Goshai Tava Kripa Vale Pai Chaitanya Nitai Ha ha Swarup Sanatana Rupa Raghunatha Bhata Juga Shri Jivaha Prabhu Lokanatha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koramore Toma Bina Ke Dayalo Jagata Samsare Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koramore Toma Bina Ke Dayalo Jagata Samsare Daya Karo Shri Acharya Prabhu Srinivasa Daya Karo Shri Acharya Prabhu Srinivasa Ramachandra Sangha Mage Narottama Dasa Ramachandra Sangha Mage Narottama Dasa Rasa Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karo More Toma Bina Ke Dayalu Jagata Samsare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Thakur Narottama Das Thakur Narottama Das Narottama Das Thakur Narottama Das Thakur Narottama Das Thakur Narottama Das Narottama Das Thakur Narottama Das Srinivasacharya Jaya Srinivasacharya Srinivasacharya Jaya Srinivasacharya Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Thank you.
Thank you to our dear Chakora bird, Nalini Dasi. Haribol. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Last week you said Chataka bird.
I know. I'm a little undecided. It's I'm not very good on my Sanskrit bird tattva. So we'll get there, Nalini. I might switch between the two.
Okay.
Well remembered though. Well remembered.
Haribol. Thank you.
Anar Pitacharim Chirat Karunaya Vatina Kalau Sama Payutim Munato Jvala Rasham Swabhakti Shriyam Hari Purata Sundara Yuti Kadamba Sandipita Sada Hidaya Kandare Spuratu Vasachidananda Vanchikapaturpischa Kripa Sunduevacha Patitanam Pavenabhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namanaha Om Gyantiram Dasya Gyanjana Salakya Chakshumlitam Yana Tashmai Shri Guru Namaha Srinada Pisunichana Tarora Pisahishnuna Manina Manadena Kitni Sadahari Vacho Vegam Manashikara Vegam Jiva Vegam Ura Pasta Vegam Etam Vegam Yovisha Hetadira Savamapimam Pritvim Sashishyat Anya Blasta Sunyam Gyan Kamriana Vritam Anukalanya Krishnam Shilam Bhakti Uttama Tatenu Kampam Susamik Shamano Bunjana Vatma Kritam Vipakam Hitvatvapuvididam Namaste Chivata Yomukti Sadaya Bhak Anya Blasta Sunyam Gyan Kamriana Vritam Anukalanya Krishnu Shilanam Bhakti Uttama Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadata Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hari Hari. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you beautiful, beautiful godfathers and godmothers, god aunties, god uncles, god brothers and sisters, cousins and first cousins and second cousins, god sons and daughters, and god nephews and nieces. It is a privilege and an honor. My Dandavat pranams to you all, to everybody who's live today, and everybody who's going to watch this in recording. And I want to say right at the outset how grateful we are, the Bhakti Zoom team, that you attend every week, because it's your Shravan with your 2 ears and your humble heart listening to these Pushpanjalis that gives us the motivation, inspiration to keep inviting speakers, and encourages the speakers to come forth, both the ones that are fully confident and those that are shy. Both are coming every week from all over the world, and it is such a beautiful honor to be of service to you all. So thank you for giving us that platform to be able to render this service, and thank you for your savor. Today is the 39th program. We committed to do 64 programs in honor of Srila Gurudev's 100th year, and we're now on our 39th. It seems like remarkable. It seems like yesterday that this was started. And as you all know, I like to do this funny thing where I represent the 64 programs as a day. So if we're in a human day, we're now at 2:38 p.m. when we finish today. And you know that I like, probably because I used to like Star Trek and Star Wars, I like to also notate it in terms of the day of Brahma. So if we were in the day of Brahma by the end of today's session, out of 14 Manus, we'd be in the 9th Manu, in the 9th Manu, yes, the 37th Chatra Yuga, in the Dwapara Yuga, and we'd be 324,000 years into that Dwapara Yuga. So I love giving you that totally useless piece of information each week, and then move on to the beautiful, serious stuff. We've got a great, great lineup today. We have, as usual, 4 wonderful speakers from different parts of the world. We will be starting off in Hawaii, which is very exciting to have somebody from Hawaii speaking, Sriman Gopal Vrinda Prabhu from Sriman Gopal Vrindapal from Hawaii. And then we will be moving, who's speaking on American Independence Day, I should add. And then we will be going over to Eugene in the northwest part of the US, where they've just had this massive heat wave where Sriman Jaganatha Prabhu will be speaking. And actually today, I don't think we've stayed in America for the whole session before. The whole session's in America, because we then go over to South Jersey, Srimati Anuradha Didi, and then I think it's her mother speaking after that, Srimati Sunita Didi from South Jersey. We'll probably have a little advertising break for some of the programs coming up. We got Guru Pranim, a 64-hour Zoomathon on the 22nd, 3rd, and 4th of July. We'll go into more detail later. And we've also got World Sankirtan Day, the International Day of Joy, this coming Sunday on the 11th of July. And we will be having little break interludes, advertising promo breaks on both of those to fill you in what is happening. So we'll go to our first speaker, and I'm really excited to be introducing this first speaker, Sriman Gopal Vrindapal Prabhu from Hawaii, because I first met him and his wife, Mula Prakriti, back in 1996. I have to confess, being a 20-something young London Jewish boy, these Krishna conscious guys looked a bit weird to me on the whole. It was all a bit alien to me at the time. Now, my identity is devotee, but then my identity was, should we say, a little bit confused, or should we say in transition. And Budara, who has the credit, or maybe, I don't know if it's the credit or the opposite, of actually bringing me in or dragging me into Krishna consciousness. Somehow I ended up in the first year. I met Gurudev back in February 1996. Then Gurudev traveled over to Holland, then to England, and then he did his famous tour of America. And Gopal was instrumental in bringing Gurudev to Badger in 1996, where I remember probably no more than 30% of the community was really favorable to Gurudev. And so it was quite a risk that he did that. And I, with my ex-wife in Angamohini, we stayed in his house with Mula Prakriti, who unfortunately passed on some years ago, and they made such an impact. And the way I liken this impact is when you're born, the people you meet when you're 5 or 6 or 7 years old, or, you know, when you first have consciousness, they make such a big impact on you, because if you meet someone when you're like a baby, they actually, if you think about it, if you meet somebody for a day when you're 3 days old, it's like they've taken up a third of your life. If you meet somebody when you're 30 years old, they take up less of your consciousness. So Gopal was one of the people I met as a baby, if you like, as a devotee baby. And he and Mula Prakriti demonstrated to me that you could be normal in Krishna consciousness, and yet at the same time you could be devoted, and you could be integrated, and you could be passionate about it, and you could be just really beautiful in the way that you dealt with the world. You could be both able to deal with the world and also be very devotional. And this was very attractive to me. So as well as some other very important people, in addition to, of course, Padara Prabhu, Gopal made a very big impact on me, and his wife, Mula Prakriti, made a huge impact on my ex-wife, because my ex-wife really had some resistance to Krishna consciousness to begin with, but her first Vrindavan experience was really under the shelter of Gopal's wife, Mula Prakriti. And if it wasn't for her, I don't know if my ex-wife would have been a devotee for so many years. She really made a beautiful impact. So it is with I didn't even say what I normally say, which is Gopal came to Krishna consciousness. He came to Srila Prabhupada in the late 60s. He took Harinam in 71 and Diksha in 72. He really is a senior Prabhupada disciple, but he's not one of these people that holds himself out as, oh, I'm a senior Prabhupada disciple. He's just a person that walks his talk and is beautifully erudite and yet understated at the same time. I've probably already embarrassed him way too much, but I had to speak from my heart. He's a very, very special in my heart. So without further ado, big welcome to you, Gopa. The floor is yours for half an hour. Please offer your Pushpanjali. We're very, very happy to have you here in our little family.
Thank you, of course, for such a warm welcome. And thank you for mentioning Mula as well. Anything to keep her wonderful Krishna conscious memory alive is dear to my heart. Thank you. I'll start with Srila Prabhupada Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj gave me something very special. So naturally, most of us will start off with some pranams. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitang Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Kikore Bhujabo Kata Barosei Chahi Kudra Omi Dino Hino Kono Shakti Nahi. Mukha Kavita Yan Sabar Smarane Pangu Girilange Ando Deke Taragone. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrindam. Jayatang Sarato Pangor Mama Mandama Tergati Matsarvascha Padambojo Radha Madana Mohano. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So in a conversation with Srila Prabhupada Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, he told me personally, my question to him was, what should be the attitude and what should be the topics plural, in glorifying Guru? And he really capsulized it in one word, at least at the moment. And it was a strange response that I'm still trying to understand to this day. But he said it should be scientific. Okay, like I said, I'm working on that. What did he mean when he said that? And I'll just offer that he meant it should at least include some clear perception of Guru Tattva. So I'll try to do that here today and be somewhat scientific in my presentation. Of course, I would think most of these discussions usually wax and wane into wonderful sentiment and memories, which also keep us alive. So maybe a smattering of all the above will be appropriate. I think what you are celebrating here in this gathering is the Avirbhav of both Sripad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, and our Srila Prabhupada Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj. Gurudev's centennial and Srila Prabhupada's 125th anniversary of his birth. Srila Prabhupada many times referred to it's a phrase, it's a story actually that comes, you'll find it in Jiva Goswami's Bhakti Sandarbha, although I'm sure he got the story and the verse from previous Shastra. He says there, Rajputra Chiranjiva Muni Putra Kamajiva. Sadhu Bir Jiva Vamaro Vyada Majiva Mahamara. This and its story, backstory, mean that Rajputra Chiranjiva, a great sage, is talking to various people and to the son of a king, to a prince. He says, Chiranjiva, you should live forever because you've got a good situation here as we speak today. And the longer you can prolong it, the better, because God only knows what's going to happen after your life of sense gratification. So try and live forever. Do your best, at least. Then he says, Muni Putra Kamajiva. This means the son of a Muni, i.e. a brahmachari. And as a brahmachari, Majiva, you shouldn't live at all. Why? Because you're prepared now with your renounced Krishna conscious brahmachari attitude. You're ready for your spiritual destiny. So go there today. Majiva, don't live at all. And Sadur Jiva Mavaro. That means that to a sadhu, he said, Jiva Vamaro, you can live or you can die. Do either one of those things, no harm. Because you live, your life is wonderful as a sadhu, as a devotee, and you pass on, your life is wonderful as a devotee. And finally, he says, Vyada, Majiva Mamada, Vamara. This means that Majiva means don't live, and Mamara means don't die. Who's he speaking to now? He's speaking to a Vyada. Vyada means a hunter or a butcher. And he says to the hunter or butcher, your life is bloody no matter how you look at it. You're going to have a hard time living today in your bloodbath, and you're going to have a hard time living in the future in your hellish destiny. So same sadhu giving completely different instructions to all these different people. And the point here, when Srila Prabhupada would bring this kind of stuff up, he was saying that this appearance and disappearance for a sadhu, jiva, vamaro, his being born and his passing and leaving us is all the same thing. As a matter of fact, in one sense, the passing is even more wonderful. Why? Because it throws us into dependence on his Vani. We might have been happy with Srila Gurudev's, Srila Prabhupada's, any acharya. Their followers are happy with a pat on the head. Their followers are happy with a glance of love. But more important is their Vani, because that instruction that we get from them will last multiple lifetimes. That's not, pat on the head is a few second affair. You might remember it forever, but their instructions to us are what bore deeply into our hearts and take us into our future spiritual destiny. So Prabhupada cast a very large net over the planet. I mean, look, before Prabhupada, there was zero Krishna consciousness outside of India. After Prabhupada, what, a 10-year span, there was Krishna consciousness worldwide. One man with the backing of his Guru Varga. 1 year, nothing. Next year, an entire worldwide movement. I mean, nothing so miraculous has happened in the history of Krishna consciousness. So this is, it's a miracle. And Prabhupada is there as Guru, as representative of Guru Varga, of course, for all of us. It doesn't matter who your Guru is or where your connection is. Prabhupada cast a very large net of which we are all part. However you've come to Krishna consciousness, at least if you came to Krishna consciousness outside of India, Prabhupada could easily well be called the father of worldwide Krishna consciousness, of all of us. So I don't know how we made it through my wall of resistance. That's an important point. It's been said that Prabhupada bored through granite. To get to us Westerners at the time, children of the 60s and early 70s, you would have to be a massive drilling complex to get through the granite of our resistance. Somehow or other, Prabhupada got to my heart, and of course, I'm forever grateful for that. And he's been called a kamikaze devotee by Srila Bhakti Raktak Sridhar Dev Goswami. Such a fitting appellation, such a fitting nomenclature, for someone, kamikaze means you're ready to fly into the eye of the enemy. You're ready to do literally anything to achieve your goal, least of which is to give your entire life. Many of you know Prabhupada said, "Nachao." He gave, I have a beautiful picture when Prabhupada first arrived. It's a picture of Prabhupada standing on Commonwealth Pier in Boston, Massachusetts. And he's standing with his back to the camera. And over the picture, someone has written something that I said at the beginning as an invocation prayer. Ki kore bhujabo katha barosei chahi kudra ami dino hino kono shakti nahi. He said, I'm supposed to give them Krishna consciousness. That's what you brought me here for. Ki kore bhujabo katha. But how will I give them the bhuja? How will I give them the intelligence to understand this Hari Katha? I don't know. But you, Krishna, you have all intelligence. You're the infinite reservoir of intelligence. So if you want to give me the intelligence to make me successful in this mission, you can do it. I certainly have nothing on my own behalf. But you can help me, Srila Prabhupada. You can help me, Sri Krishna. So, then his famous words, nachao, say nachao, Prabhu nachao, say mate, kashter putali, jata nachao, say mate. So, my dear Lord, if you want to make me dance, if you brought me here to dance, then make me dance. Make me dance, make me dance. However you want me to dance, make me dance in that way. Then maybe there's some hope for some success in my message. So this is the way many of us think of Prabhupada, of course. Just to give some personal anecdotes, I was with him one time here in Hawaii, although I wasn't living here at the time. And we were in a room together, a couple other devotees, and we were talking about outreach. We were talking about giving Krishna consciousness to others, and he was vibrant like a young child. I mean, years were peeling off his life. He was loving the conversation so much. As a matter of fact, rare. He got up from behind his desk and walked and mentioned, signaled to me and one other person, come with me. And we went over to a window. Why? So we could see one of his books better. Now we're in the sunlight of the day. And he said, what do you say here in this book in order to attract people? So I had to go through, I had to immediately rev up my whatever little brain power I had and start quoting a few verses to show him the kind of things we say to people, in English, of course, that we're hoping will catch their attention. And again, Prabhupada was vibrant, young, standing up straight, very youthful and inspired by the entire conversation. We went back and sat down, and a temple president came up the stairs, paid their obeisances, and began to discuss local politics. Actually, it was politics between himself and his hierarchical leader in the governing board of the institution. And Prabhupada immediately sank down behind his desk. He immediately gained decades on his life, added years to his life. You could see the tears in his eyes and the frustration in this change of mood, change of conversation. And the first words out of his mouth were, I am an old man. Please spare me these worries. Take care of these things without me so that I can preach this mission. So this is a good dichotomy to show the difference in Prabhupada's moods when speaking about his favorite topic, how to outreach, how to care for people, how to inspire people, how to bring more people into Krishna consciousness and change their lives for the better, and how to manage, how to solve individual problems, and how to deal with freaking politics. He was a 180-degree different person in two back-to-back discussions. I think this is a great anecdote to show Prabhupada and who he was. And maybe just for humor's sake, I'll throw in something else. This is one of the funniest things I've ever heard, regardless of the comedy venue, regardless of the time, regardless of the comedian. Prabhupada was also a comedian. He had a very light and wonderful, joking side. And he said, I had told him that there were rumors that the people who were on these international space flights and who were, being shot up into orbit and into space at the time, supposedly they were drinking their own urine as recycled water in order to stay alive, in the days or weeks that they were up beyond the terrestrial atmosphere. So Prabhupada laughed at that, of course, and he said, it gave me this coy little look, tilted his head, smiled, and said, and what will they eat?
Oh my God.
So this gives you a sort of a capsule picture, how serious Prabhupada was and what his priorities were, and how jovial and joking he could be, practically, in the same breath. So me, I'm a very selfish person. I have to admit, I'm always seeking inspiration in Krishna consciousness. And, but I guess you could say there's some justification for that. We all know, we've all heard Kriti Sadhya Bhavat Sadhya Bhavasa Sadhana Bida Nitya Siddhasya Bhavasya Prakatyam Hridi Sadhyata. It means that if you're going to do sadhana, there's really only one way to do it. According to Srila Rupa Goswami, in the second chapter, as soon as he's done talking about general bhakti, bhakti as a huge topic, then he whittles it down to sadhan bhav and prem bhakti, three types of bhakti available to strive for. And he begins by talking about sadhan. Sadhan bhakti means that bhakti which is sadhya bhav, in which you're trying with your present senses in this present world to reach for something. That's why we're doing sadhana, to express a desire, to reach for something wonderful. And what are we trying to reach for? We're trying to reach for sadhya bhav. That bhav, those moods, those emotions that are nitya siddhasya, they're eternally within us. And this practice of sadhana will bring them out. So sadhana has to be in relationship with sadhya, in this case, bhav. Trying for bhav is the definition of sadhana. And keeping that in mind keeps us focused in our sadhana. Or most of you have heard the verse, Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamati. I think Ramananda Roy goes on to say, Tatra lolyam apimulyam ekalam. Prabhupada, of course, used this phrase, Krishna Bhakti Ras, because he knew this is what everyone wants. Everyone wants Krishna Bhakti Ras, whether they know it or admit it or not. But then he qualifies. How can you get that thing that your heart wants so badly? Only by tatra lolyam apimulyam ekalam. Only by wanting it. Only by specifying, this is what I want, this is what I'll aim all my faculties for. Then a focused desire like that is what Krishna responds to. You'll all remember Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's famous, delightful, immortal words, Kabe kabe bolo se dinamar. You know, it means that when will that happen? When will that Krishna Bhakti Ras? When will that Sadhya Bhav? When will that happen to me? Even me, little me. Can I possibly get a taste of that? So that's his question. When will I get that? That's what I want more than anything. I'm not shy about it. I want that. And as if Krishna says, yeah, okay. What is it specifically you want here? And Bhaktivinoda Thakur is not shy. He says, Korite Shri Krishna Nama Ucharan Pulakita Deho Gadgadavachan Vaivarnya Vepatu Kabe Sangatan Nirantara Netre Babe Ashrudar. I want Ucharan, I want hairs to stand, I want goosebumps, I want my body to change colors, I want Nirantara Netre, I want tears to fall from my eyes 24/7. I know what I want, and I'm making it very clear. I'm very focused in my sadhya. So my point is, I consider myself a very selfish person. I always want to be inspired in Krishna consciousness. And our acharyas have given us what it is that we should want, what it is that will inspire us in return. If we can focus our desire in such a way, the response that, after all, that's what Radha and Krishna want to give us more than anything else. But in that sort of selfish attitude, which I harbor, I admit it, back in the 1970s, I had heard about Srila Narayan Maharaj. Someone had told me, I don't remember who, but that there was I probably amplified this in my mind, I over dramatized it, but he said something about there being a winding staircase, and I pictured in my mind this sort of cobweb-ridden magic staircase going higher and higher and higher in a labyrinth into one room, one story after another. And somehow or other, this winding staircase in Mathura, India, would get you to this enchanted sort of attic loft where you would find the most wonderful, brimming treasure chest of gold and diamond and jewels. Of course, the treasure chest here was the Krishna Katha of Srila Gurudev, Narayan Maharaj. But this is how I thought about it. Since the 70s, I had thought about it. You know, Mula and I had been down to South India, and I had walked up the Gopuram in Sri Rangam. And of course, as you walk higher on the staircase, there's more cobwebs and bats are attacking you from every direction. And, you know, it's a wild sojourn just to get up the stairway, a winding stairway to the magical view at the top. Well, that was my impression of Srila Gurudev long before I ever met him. But it wasn't until the 80s when I was able to actually go over there and meet him. And of course, everything that I had overthought in my mind came true. He was talking about Jaiva Dharma, and the immediate impression I got from listening to Srila Gurudev talk about Jaiva Dharma was, this man knows everything. I couldn't ask a question or I couldn't suggest anything that he wouldn't have an immediate response for and wouldn't know like the back of his hand. I don't know if I've ever come across this before, except of course with my Srila Prabhupada. So this is sort of my first impression, both pre-meeting and after meeting Srila Gurudev. And some people asked me during that time, hey, isn't Prabhupada enough? Why do you have to go elsewhere? And yes, Prabhupada was enough, everything. But I'm not enough. I want more inspiration. I want to do better in my bhakti. I want to increase my bhakti. So always looking to increase my seva, I need any help I can get. Don't we all make a vow? Anukuyasya sankalpa, pratikuyasya varjanam. I want whatever is anukul, whatever is helpful for my bhakti, I want that more than anything else. What will inspire me is what I want. So yes, Prabhupada's good enough. But if someone will help me in my love and devotion for Srila Prabhupada and for the goals of bhakti that our acharyas have set in front of us, then why don't we take the help of anyone and everyone? Anything that is anukul for our bhakti is vital. And we should grab, Srila Sridhar Maharaj used to say that wherever the divine current descends, you should immediately go there. Beggars can't be choosy. When it comes to the divine current, Krishna Prem, wherever it seems to be descending, cast everything else off and run there like a bullet. So, and plus I looked around and I saw, you know, Mula, my wife, I saw my kids, I saw my godbrothers. Now, many of you who were there at the time, you'll know how Gurudev was inspiring to all godbrothers, many of whom hadn't chanted around in years, hadn't offered their food or chanted Gayatri, and were struggling. And Gurudev, one meeting and they'd be back on board, back on ship. His Sangha was magical, and he proved it in the impact that it had worldwide. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Siksha Guru Vrinda, Kripa Koriyo Par. Sadhane Shikkan Sadhaner Angasar. That means that Siksha Guru is so wonderful because Siksha Guru takes the time to walk us through the details. Sadhane Shikshan Sadhaka. How to do sadhan, what we're aiming for in our sadhana. He takes us by the hand and guides us step by step. Siksha Guru is wonderful. So to whom much is given, much is expected. I guess that's the bottom line. We've been given Jaiva Dharma, the very nature of who we are. I mean, how does that feel? Your actual nature is now in your grasp because of Guru, because of Sadhu Sangha. We've been given our Jaiva Dharma. We've been given Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipadam Purnam Ritasvaranam. The very thing that we've wanted at every step of our lives, not just this life, not just as a child with all of our wild dreams, not just now and with a little more maturity, but in past lives as well. What have we always wanted? We've wanted Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. We've wanted that ocean of nectar that Krishna consciousness supplies. We've wanted Prem, Sukha Bhog, Mukhya, Prayojan, Hai. We've wanted to know the goal of life, the prayojan of life. What is that? And Srila Prabhupada, Gurudev have been due stewards of these things. Mukhya prayojan, the highest possible prayojan. They've given this to us. Even the serving mood for Srimati Radharani and her serving group. The potential for that they've given us. So now maybe to end, I'll just say very quickly the story of Kapila Dev's mother. Devahuti is very wonderful in this regard because she had her husband, Kardama Muni. But she complained when Kardama Muni left that I've served you now for who knows how many years. I mean, her body went frail and her face went gaunt, her hair went gray, all in service to her husband, Guru. So after she was given a child, he began to leave. And she said, I've served you, but I really need more. And so many times we do that too. We spin our wheels. We think, I'm serving, I'm serving, I'm serving. But her husband told her at that point, hey, she actually admitted, I've served you for so long, but I haven't gotten any sambandha gyan, any knowledge of what's what in life. All I've done is serve mindlessly. So it's a wonderful story because Srila Kapila Dev says to her in his response, Satam prasangan mama virya samvido vadanti hritkarana rasanaya nakata taj joshanat ashwa pavarga vartmani shraddha ratir bhaktir anukramashyati. And this means that if you do bhakti in the sangha of great devotees, like we're talking about here today, then you will get results. This should not be an external thing, like, putting things on auto bounce mode when there's a festival and I go and bounce off the walls and look good. That's not what it is. This is, where is the eternal fire for ruchi, asakti, bhav, and prem? Where is that? That's what has to be kept alive. That's the real essence of this topic. And that's what we get from Sadhu Sangha. So I'll stop there. I think that's timely. And I hope that was okay and sort of expressed some of my thoughts about both Srila Prabhupada and Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj.
That was really beautiful, Gopal. Thank you so much. I don't know if you realize this, but you perfectly bookended your presentation, because you started off by explaining to us the importance and the primacy of Vani over Vapu. And then you ended it by reminding us that we need to move from mindless seva to mindful seva. And we can only actually perform mindful seva if we've actually imbibed the Vani of our parampara and of our Guru. So that was really beautiful. And certainly from my experience, in many ways, although I was very fortunate to have quite an intimate relationship with Gurudev, I found that after he disappeared, the sort of equal direct access that everybody then had to Sri Gurudev, and it was not like I was denied any access, but it was the Vani access. Something about his post-disappearance made his Vani even more powerful.
Yes.
Probably because of the corruption in my conditioning of being somewhat dependent on the sweetness of his Vapu. I had that, so he gave me that grounding and that security of knowing that I'm loved by him. But then the Vani just always developing year by year. And this, for me personally, the 7 instructions he gave me, they're like the most incredible, what I would call like positive super viruses inside of me, where he's injected me with 7 instructions, all of which are dynamically changing all the time in an ever fresh way, because he's ever fresh and the Vani's ever fresh. And the savior you were talking about at the end is always ever fresh. So I found what you said super optimistic. And that I was really in the room with you when you were talking about Srila Prabhupada and the lightness of mood and the darkness of mood as he moved from discussing his outreach to discussing the politics within his Sangha. I can't imagine, because sometimes we forget that these Mahabhagavats, although they're from the spiritual world, they're playing human-like pastimes. So they're exhibiting all the human emotions we have. And certainly when I came to Krishna consciousness, I wanted Prabhupada as my guru. Of course, that was not possible. But what your talk did was really encapsulate and integrate the beauty of Srila Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada as being both different and totally one team at the same time in the journey of your life. So thank you so much. It was really beautiful. And you also touched on desire. I'm going to slightly put words into your mouth. You're referring to the importance of one pointedness, desiring Krishna consciousness. And Gurudev's Vani is so important on this, because he not only talks about lobh, greed, because when I first heard about greed, I was like, well, I don't have any greed for bhakti, so I'm not going anywhere, am I? But greed for greed, anyone can have greed for greed. So that Vani, greed for greed, anyone can pray for greed if they don't have greed, and eventually we'll get greed. So thank you for your heartly and erudite Pushpanjali. Thank you for beaming in all the way from Hawaii. And I really appreciate your time and your sweetness for attending today. I hope your other program you're doing is also successful. And I know that the devotees are very, very happy to hear from you. Thank you so much. And make sure Shravan eventually comes and does this Pushpanjali. Otherwise, tell him I'm coming over to Hawaii myself to sort him out.
Well, I'd twist his arm, but he's twice my size now.
Yeah, but tell him he's not twice my size.
I know. I'll tell him that you're on your way over.
I'm on my way, man, and I mean it.
Okay.
Thank you,
all right,
Gopal,
thank
so
you
much.
all for
Give him my love.
Thank
Give
you
him my
for the
dandavat.
chance. I will. I'll pass that on to Shravan.
And also Kirtan when you speak to him.
Yep, I'll talk to him soon as well. And thank you all for being here and allowing me the chance.
Gopal, before you go, Yashari, did you want to say anything to Gopal?
I just want to say that it was just absolutely stunning. It just brought back a lot. I was actually just thinking about the Jaiva Dharma today, and some of the things that you've just said is like Gurudev's just reinstated that for that very thing. So it's just perfectly said, and I'm just so grateful to you for just bringing back those reinstatements. So thank you so much for building a relationship with Srila Prabhupada and Srila Gurudev for me again. Thank you.
Haribol. Haribol. Dandavat pranams. Okay, we're going to fly from Hawaii to the west and a little bit to the north. And we're going to be going over to Eugene, to Oregon, to Eugene, where it's been nearly 50 degrees recently, to my beautiful godbrother, Sriman Jaganatha Prabhu, who I'm glad to say that whenever I have met him, he's one of the few people in the Sangha that I can hug, slap on the back, give him a punch and know that I'm not going to break anything. The guy's huge, like a tree. He's got a big, big heart. He's a beautiful bear. I think we're related as bears. And he's does a lot of business in property. He looks after a lot of Maharajas. If you ever stay at Jagannath, actually, I've never stayed with you, Jagannath. I'm looking forward to doing so. I'll make sure I have a big appetite when I do, because I hear every Maharaj that's ever stayed with you is never, ever underfed. As you can see, he's got beautiful deities in the background there. Jagannath Prabhu was actually born in Latvia. For those of you that are not too hot on geography, that is in Eastern Europe, used to be part of the Soviet Union, is now independent along with Estonia and Lithuania. It's a Baltic state. And that's where Jagannath Prabhu came from. He actually met the devotees in 1992 in Latvia, following Tripurari Swami, who kindly brought him over, and he emigrated to the United States of America in 1997 and met Srila Gurudeva in 1996. I think I met you pretty early. I probably met you by 1998. I remember sitting having yogurt with you outside the Govardhan temple, or maybe we were drinking buffalo milk or something. I remember our first conversation. And Jagannath took Harinam and then Diksha in the year 2000. He's a beautiful, open-hearted, big-hearted, straight-talking, very honest, very generous person who's always looking for seva to render. So I'm very grateful that he's agreed to share his Pushpanjali, offer his Pushpanjali today. So, Prabhu, the floor is yours, and look at your beautiful smile. Thank you so much for coming.
Don't forget about your offer to wrestle when we come to Gopinath Bhavan next time.
My offer for wrestling remains totally open.
Good.
It could be quite amusing. Yeah.
So everybody can hear me okay, right?
Perfect. I think pretty good. Are you good with this? Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, great. So, Gurave Gaurachandrai Radhikai Tadaya Krishnai Krishna Bhaktai Tad Bhaktai Namo Namaha. Yashodanandan, very nice to know you. And I'm seeing so many other wonderful names here, like Madhavrat. I just heard Gopas, got to know Gopa, and very nice to see Vidar sitting there. So that brings a lot of joy to me. Seeing these devotees I got to know over the years. And yeah, I guess I'm not a very usual speaker. I'm one of those shy ones, but when you said shy, some are shy, some are confident. I think there's some confidence about it too. So it gives me a good opportunity, at least for my own sake, to speak out. You should, when you said yesterday, two things devotees usually speak about Gurudeva. One was his teachings, and it skipped my mind. Maybe it was a British term. What was the other word you mentioned?
What was the first one?
First one was teaching.
Oh, the teachings, the Vani. Yeah, the second one is personal experiences with Gurudeva, but sometimes also people link the two. So sometimes people express their personal experiences and then reveal some Vani through the personal dealings. So
Gopa just spoke, I think, wonderful things about Vani, and I'm gonna bring everybody down the level, probably more into a personal experiences with Gurudeva. That's what I will speak. Since I'm not so attracted yet to higher things, for me, it's very technical, a little bit esoteric, kind of like that. So that's, I think, where I will stay mostly. And I apologize to all the devotees who are listening. I'm gonna start picking this up gradually. I'm not used to speak too much, but recently when I was in Badger Festival, by the way, I met Shaman Kirtan, and I went out to, when Gop said, make me dance, what Prabhupada said, we just came out with a new CD, Make Me Dance. Prabhanu Prabhu in Roseburg, Oregon, has composed all the songs and lyrics. So I just wanted to show that to devotees. And so I wanted to say also what I heard recently in Badger Festival is that someone asked to Gurudev recently why, when Gurudev wrote his book about our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti-Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, why there is no much relationship written between Gurudev and his guru. And Gurudev said, you know, he wrote this to glorify his guru, not himself. So unfortunately, again, I'm bringing you all down a little bit. I'll just talk almost like a materialist, how it all started with me, how I met Gurudev. So I still remember back in like very early 90s, maybe like 91, I saw some devotees selling books on streets in Latvia. And I was attracted when I opened this book. There is this yogi sitting from famous Prabhupada's book, Easy Journey to Other Planets, with his eyes like rolled up. And I thought, this is all what the yoga is. And eventually I ended up buying one of the books. It was in the capital of Latvia, Riga, in a tunnel where pedestrians walk. And this devotee, she sold me Bhagavad Gita. I wanted to buy Science of Self-Realization, but she said, you just need to buy Gita. And she wrapped this book into a temple newspaper. I didn't know there is even a temple in this capital of Latvia. So when I unpacked the book, I saw this newspaper and there was a temple address. So that's how I first met devotees back in 92, and gradually things, you know, started to develop. I was so happy actually to see someone sitting on the floor, you know, with the crossed legs, because I've done some hatha yoga myself during the high school, and I was dreaming about all kinds of mysticism, you know, how the yogis do this and that. But here I met first time those who can sit on the floor with the crossed legs. And gradually I understood this is something else. It's not just about asana. It was like an elevator. You can elevate, don't have to go through the bodily exercise, pranayama, all of that. You can just sit in an elevator and go up to prema practically. So, but after a while, it took about like 4 years, I understood that all the gurus who come to the temple in Riga, Latvia, there were 11 of them. I even wrote all the names down, of course, figure, you know, none of them are like my guru. You know, sannyasis come and I had conversations with them. And I still had this conception kind of like, okay, I'm choosing the guru, but then I start hearing also, of course, that the guru eventually has to choose you. What happened is back in 1996, one of the wonderful Swamiji's disciple of Swami Prabhupada, Purnachandra Prabhu, allowed me to go to India and see other gurus. I told him I don't have anybody I could take as my spiritual master. And so I was on a way to India. I remember I arrived in India, and for about 1 month, I had a little spiritual journeys in India. I went to Prabhupada's Mahabhishek. It was Prabhupada's centennial year in Kolkata. That's where I met Bhagavat Maharaj, who is staying with me right now. So, and then I spent a couple of weeks even in Himalayas and traveled, you know, Krishna conscious journeys. And finally, it was time to go to Vrindavan to join Bhakti Shastri course in Krishna Balaram Mandir in Vrindavan, India. But for some reason, the bus took me to Mathura, okay? And I thought, you know, okay, this is probably Vrindavan. I'm seeing the temples, right? But I walked out of bus and a bus stop, and I'm in Mathura, like they say in India. I think in English would be Mathura. So what I found out shortly is that this is Mathura, and there's no buses, no trains going to Vrindavan because today is elections. And I heard from different sources that elections can be maybe once a 3 years. And I was wondering, how could I catch that day that I can't get back to Vrindavan where I was actually going? And then one of the Western brahmacharis at that time, his name was Radhanath Das, now he's Damodar Maharaj, told me to come to his temple to take prasadam. It was noontime. Otherwise, I was ready to take my bag and just walk over to Vrindavan. You know, it was like 16 kilometers. I still had a bag from Jagannath Puri. The straps even broke off. Now, what happened was shortly, I arrived at Sri Keshavaji Gaudiya Math, and I never heard about Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, anything about Sri Keshavaji Gaudiya Math, and I'm stuck here in Mathura. I can't go to Vrindavan. So, and I was very surprised. Who are these wonderful, wonderful devotees around me? You know, Vrindavan Vilasini was there. Eventually, Shamarani came some days later, actually. So many other names like Jagmohan Vishaka was there. And that night, I remember the darshan was arranged with Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj. And I still remember, you know, his eyes, like one of my godbrothers says in Los Angeles, when he looks at you, you know, it alters your DNA practically, that look. And the very kind question, what are you doing here? And I said, I came to India to look for Guru. So I still remember that day. It was so unique. And throughout all this time, I understand still very clearly, just like it was back then, that who was behind this? Because it was something out of like, I couldn't, it was beyond my mind, beyond my intelligence. And I only understood that I was guided by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada to come to lotus feet of Gurudev. So, and then what happened is I was very lucky to attend that Braj Mandal Parikram back in 1996. So what I was thinking is to share some of my memories, like my relationship with the Gurudev, how it all started. I still remember in a Modi Bhavan, I think is the name where we stayed near Govardhan. It was like late night, and Gurudev was there with Trivikram Maharaj sitting. Most of devotees were sleeping. And I just somehow walked up to them, sat down nearby, and they both were looking at me. I'm telling this story because one time Sudevi said that I need to share this story to some others. And Trivikram Maharaj looks at me and says, you see, Maharaj is going now to play with gopis. It's a late night now, all night he will go and he'll be with gopis. They're both like looking at me. And I'm like, you know, what is this, like a joke or something? And it's only 3 of us. So, but then I understood that it's not some joke. It looks serious, the way even Gurudev looks at me, you know, will I understand this or not? I still remember that kind of intimate moment back then near Govardhan. And then I remember one of those Govardhan days, we went to do our offerings for Govardhan Puja. And Gurudev said, this was like my very first time in India also, and Gurudev said, you know, that devotees pray all kinds of things to Sri Govardhan, but they should pray only for Radha Dasyan. So I'm like a new boy in my 20s. Somehow I happened to be here with the small Bhagavat, whom Swami Prabhupada held his hands in his last moments and begged Srila Gurudev to help his disciples. So somehow I heard Gurudev say that, and I very sincerely tried to pray what he says. And then we all like walk back, after the puja is completed. I remember Gurudev even said how many preparations were offered. And there I'm like walking, and suddenly I'm looking up, and Gurudev stands and looks at me. And it's one of those things you can never ever forget. The way he looked at me, and it wasn't just like for a second. Usually he quickly looks at you, but he was like a little like impressed. Who is this soul? And I could understand that he knew what I just did, that I prayed sincerely. So I heard some devotees say that what was the most impressive thing from Swami Prabhupada was his look, his view when Prabhupada looked at you. So I will always remember that Gurudev's look at me. It lasted quite a bit, and why was he looking at me like this? So just shared some memory. So I understood that Gurudev should be my spiritual master. And I remember I asked him for initiation in Barshana that year. But he asked me some tricky questions. So basically I was tested quite a bit. Those days it was different. There were no Russians, for example. I was like the only one from Soviet Union there. Sometimes actually there was one Russian devotee came to visit. Now he's Gurudev's disciple, Jivan Krishna Prabhu. He used to be a disciple of another ISKCON guru. But like, it was different. Like a few years later when Gurudev was traveling, maybe even like a couple of years later, you could just go to senior devotee and request that you want to be initiated. And then your name could be put on a list. But back then, Gurudev tested these new disciples, so to say. He didn't really want to. And one time he even told me, that I don't need disciples. So I ended up that year not even taking initiation, right? And just like along with Prem Prayojan, who stayed with Gurudev for another 8 months, and then was initiated eventually. So anyhow, that was back then, those early days back in '96. But at the same time, I felt like that I received so much mercy from this highly advanced devotee, Bhaktivinoda Narayan Maharaj. It was very, very special time. He was testing you hard. Nothing was just easy. Nothing was just given. But I will never forget that first year of 1996. Some time went, and I did receive initiation from Gurudev, and I wanted to share like a couple of things from Hawaii. I realized that the moments when something happens unexpectedly leave some very strong impression, just like what happened to me in Mathura back then. So one of those moments was I arrived in Hawaii. It was in Oahu, the Vrindavan Prabhu's house where Gurudev stayed. And I just came there, and I walk up, looking at the property where the festival will be. And then suddenly this person walks around the corner of Vrindavan Prabhu's house towards me and like just looks up and like goes, "What's your name?" And yes, I was already initiated back then. It like struck me like Gurudeva was alone. He kind of walked around there, and then some others followed him, and like I was just struck because of the simplicity of this personality. He comes up to me and just like, "What's your? How are you? What's your name?" And like, we had a brief conversation, and I was just so struck that I eventually stood and I had to say, "Oh, Gurudev, you're like a boy." So I saw this quality of my spiritual master, this extreme simplicity. He wasn't like some acharya, some guru walking around the corner up to me. So I wanted to express one of those moments. And then I remember I used to go to Hawaii for Gurudev's Vyas Puja, I think at least 6 times. And that time it was in Maui. One time I had this conversation with Gurudev in Maui. And I asked like almost a political question, so why is it so that some God brothers of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they quarrel between themselves? Why are there these, disagreements, these fights going on? And Gurudev was sitting there in front of me and just said, one who thinks that Krishna and Radharani always has good relationship, who is he? And I didn't know what to say. And then Gurudev said, he's an idiot. They always quarrel. So I just have this very bright memory. And if normally when you spoke to some like a worldly person, you come up with a question maybe the person doesn't like or so, they would not be very happy. But at the end of this conversation, I remember that deep affection for me. Gurudev just showed, he spoke to me, and he even like with his hand went like that at the end of it. So just sharing some memories, whichever will come up right now for the moment, because I was thinking before speaking that, I will always be somewhat unsatisfied what I say. There's so much more to say. How I was with Gurudev like 14 years, traveling him one time for 6 months, wherever he went. He was in England, back in Birmingham. We had a festival in 2001. Then went to Gurudev to Moscow, Russia, and of course India, these multiple trips. So so for what I can do, just sharing my memories with Gurudev personally. I remember one darshan in Badger, California. I went to that festival every year since year 2001. Like somebody was talking about me to Gurudev, like, yeah, this is the devotee. He's not married and he works. He has his own business. And I remember Gurudev goes like, what is that? Why is he not traveling and preaching? Right? So a little memory right there. And then eventually, as the time went on, I remember I was writing letters to Gurudev and seeing him, and had quite a bit of personal interactions. And I was invited by Tamal Krishna Prabhu or Dr. T to come to Australia, where Gurudev stayed at his house, and be like Gurudev's bodyguard, basically standing by the gate. So I will never forget those 3 weeks in Australia. Every morning seeing Gurudev, first thing practically, he looks at me and talks to me. And I was Gurudev's driver, would go to morning walks every day with Gurudev. It was a small, intimate circle, like with Madhav Maharaj, Jaganatha Prabhu. Madhubrat was there, I remember Dr. T. And so it lasted like 3 weeks like this, every day with Gurudev, joining his morning talks in his room. So it was so special. I just wanted to mention that at the end of that time, the Murvilambar festival came. And I remember Gurudev now looked like Acharya. He had a garland made, put on him, lots of garlands actually. And there is now hundreds of devotees who round up to his car when he arrived for the festival. You know, at that time, still remember, I did not need to run and just so that Gurudev sees me. I was still nearby. I saw this all happening, but I understood that now Guru is not some kind of formality. I have a different level of relationship with my spiritual master, and I knew that I could stand on a side. I didn't have to be just next to him always, you know, so just. So it looks like I'm with my spiritual master. It went to the next level at that point. And what I want to say, I think I'm always trying to be in time. Yashodananda knows that. I guess I still have about 5 minutes, but I just wanted to say that my feeling is I wish I had some more time to spend with Gurudev. So much could come. Because when you were with him, and I think many devotees experienced this, just in his presence, there was something emanating from him, that love from Radha Krishna, the self-realized Vaishnav. When you are with him, you could feel something. There were times like Nirguna Prabhu told me once, he doesn't know why, but you just had to cry. And I always was hiding, you know, my tears, you know, even when a lot of pictures were taken, I'm like, I'm a little shy person. I would stay away from that. But there were these moments, you know, it just comes from Srila Gurudev, these moods. It was like so strong. You know, some kind of like a rays of Baba, you know, coming even in our hearts. Like in my case, in this very fallen position I come from, I'm still at it's like you couldn't realize what you experienced in this one lifetime would probably take many, many lifetimes. Those moments you could take like Bhagavad Gita, read a verse, for example, is like completely different quality of being in his presence was very, very powerful. And at the same time, I have to say at the end is, you know, when I started my journey back there in Latvia in early 90s, whatever I did, even yoga, I would never think that I end up here in front of an altar and the Didis where I'm at. I didn't know I will be so fortunate to serve all the Gurudev's generals, sannyasis, preachers, and I can encourage anyone. It's a great service to host Gurudev's disciples, preachers. Like this year, for example, I was just looking at my phone, Bhaktivedanta Vaikanash Maharaj was calling me just now. We just spent over 4 months at the Bhakti Ashram. 4 years ago, I purchased this property, which is a church. And You know, I could almost say like this: if you give a donation, for example, $10,000 to sannyasi or a guru, right? It's a little different than when they will come and stay at your place. You know, they will never forget that. Like in case I was just saying with Bhaktivedanta Vaikanash Maharaj, you know, what kind of relationship you developed every morning, you're together at Mangal Artis, you know, that's a different level. And then Siddhanta Maharaj came, and now currently Bhagavat Maharaj is on the other side of this wall. So I take it all like extreme mercy of Srila Gurudev, you know, and in time it comes. So thank you for opportunity to speak. It's not my best today, I guess, but something came out, and forgive if there's lots of faults. That's all on me, but anything good, it comes from Srila Gurudev. Dandavat pranams.
Anuradha Jaganatha Prabhu, when you said Bhagavat Maharaj is on the other side of the wall, I have this cartoon idea in my head that he's just going to walk through the wall and crash through. Please knock on the wall and say to him if he wants to wave at the devotees. No need to speak. We'd love to see his face.
So he could come out and just wave.
Yeah, just wave. We love Bhagavat Maharaj. Yeah. Why not? Can't have Bhagavat Maharaj on the other side of the wall and not say hello to him. Then I want to see if we can get a slightly closer view of those amazing deities.
He was just laying, resting with his oxygen mask.
No, that's dangerous. You don't want to wake him when he's asleep. Anything could happen.
Yeah.
Prabhu, can you beam into your deities a bit closer, because they're fantastic, and we can all get closer darshan. Wow, beautiful, really beautiful. Thank you.
And then I have a Guru Parampara.
Wonderful.
And next weekend on July 11th, these Jagannath deities will have Rath Yatra.
Beautiful. Are you doing a Sankirtan for World Sankirtan Day?
Yes.
Oh, brilliant. Are you down? Have you put it on the website? Have we got you?
Actually, the Rath Yatra will be at Swati Didi's house. She just lives on the other side of this lake.
Okay, I'll communicate to you on WhatsApp. So I loved, by the way, Prabhu, you came up with a really good line. I don't know if you realized it rhymed. He says, you don't know why, but you just had to cry. And I know exactly what you meant by that, because I think what's happening inside of us ontologically is our soul is like the sun is somehow shining through the clouds of our anartas, and is through Gurudev's glance, our soul is feeling once again recognized. Our Swarup is actually waking up and feeling recognized by him. And this is like the cry of the eons. It's the cry of millennia. It's the cry of infinite number of births. So that's a really, really beautiful. I wanted to ask you as well, because you're like the same size as me. Did he used to, when you went up, at the end of class and you went up to get cookies, did he look at your hand and give you 2 cookies?
I think so.
Yeah, that's what he used to do with me. He used to see my hand, which is obviously huge, and then he'd look up like with a little glint in his eye, that beautiful blue eyes, and then with a smile, and then always give me 2 cookies. It was so sweet.
Yeah,
and I know exactly what you meant about the look. The look he gives you is like, you can remember it to this day. It's just, it goes beyond you said it saw your DNA. It goes beyond DNA. It goes down back thousands and thousands of lifetimes. It's just
one time in Laguna Beach, California festival, end of 2001, he slapped me on the shoulder and just said, you should be happy. These personal interactions are very powerful. Back in 1996, it was after Braj Mandal Kartik Parikram, Gurudev gets up. He was just sitting down along with Bhakt Pramod Puri Maharaj, Bhaktivad Bhav Puri Maharaj and others. And on the way out, he walks up to me and does that strong slap on my shoulder. So these moments I'm here to share today.
Yeah. And it's amazing because these moments can be, if you wrote them down, you know, if you were sharing them with people who are not devotees, that they wouldn't necessarily get the impact of them. But this is what's beautiful about these Pushpanjalis, because we've experienced something of this. So when you share your experiences, they kind of light up our experiences. They intensify and help us re-remember and re-experience what we've experienced with the same guru. Even if we don't have the same guru, we can still re-experience with our guru, because the guru is both one and many. So this is the magic of Pushpanjali. We're all helping to light up each other's heart. And that story you told about playing with the gopis, with Tripakara Maharaj, and they're just the three of you, that's a very intense story. That's really quite extraordinary. And that was the speciality of Gurudev. And what made me really relate to that story is that he somehow inculcated within us, even though we were perhaps at a stage where we hardly had even read the Bhagavad Gita, he could put inside of us somehow the prayojan, the goal, the destination of our spiritual life, the Radhadasyam you were talking about. Even though we knew nothing, somehow he was able to put that seed that was like, would continue to be the guiding North Star, the pole star of our spiritual life for the rest of this lifetime and for eternity. This is an incredible quality, because I always feel like he's the prayojan guru, because without that goal, I mean, I've met devotees that don't understand the goal, and it means without the goal, you don't really understand where everything fits in. So he's mapped out the goal in our heart so that everything that then comes next has some framework, some reference, and some context, which makes his Vani so much more powerful. So I thought that was a very, very strong point. And lastly, I love what you said about him being simple and like a boy. I remember sometimes, I remember him once calling me up, and I was playing volleyball in Brighton, and my mobile went, and it was him. And I didn't recognize him to begin with, because he actually sounded like an 8-year-old boy. And he just won my heart over. It was like, here's my guru, who's like omnipotent and omniscient. And yet he could miraculously, and like a wizard, appear to me like a little boy, so that I could feel protection for him, even though I can really give him nothing that he needs. I mean, it's just an incredible Leela that he has with all of us. So, Jaganatha Prabhu, you brought back a lot of memories for me, and I'm sure if you did for me, you did for many other people. Yashodhari, would you like to add anything?
I just want to say that Jagannath Prabhu, you said something that you wish you spent more time with Srila Gurudev and got to spend time with him. And I feel like when I'm on these programs, I feel like I'm spending the most time with them that I've ever spent in my anyways, I only had a very short period, but by hearing so many memories, I feel like Gurudev's present, and he's bringing me the memories, and he's going, this is what I am, and this is who I am, and this is your family. So you brought an element to Srila Gurudev that is more of a real like Saka mood that I haven't heard so much about, and it's very, very beautiful, because you hear so many different sides of Srila Gurudev, and I'm so grateful to hear them from you. So thank you so much. That's all I can say is thank you to everyone.
Yashodanandan Prabhu told me a few years ago that presentation, that was actually that first conversation back in Govardhan. Yes, I brought you down out of your room from the guest house, and then we were sitting and drinking the milk. But you told me, my presentation is not my strong side, so please accept like it went. My ultimate position, I feel, when I was starting to listen to you, I'm again very happy when I hear what others say, but I guess I had to take this opportunity to speak out myself as well.
Your presentation was great. And by the way, it worries me sometimes when people repeat what I've said, because I feel like I'm very rude. But I think you're great like that, because I think you're the kind of person that if you're honest, even if I'm wrong, if I'm honest and I'm coming from a decent place, you don't you're not someone to take it personally, which is a beautiful quality. That's how I feel about you.
So glad to join. And
give Bhagavad Maharaj my dandavats, my danda hugs, and tell him Happy Independence Day. Even though it was the terrible day for America, they became independent from Britain. I congratulate him on this special day. Make sure you tell him exactly that. It will make him very happy.
good. Maharaj is behind that wall I was showing you.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, everybody, we're now going to take a couple of small advertising breaks before we move on to South Jersey. Srimati Anuradha, who's patiently waiting there. Didi, thank you so much. We'll try and be as quick as possible with these advertising promotions. So the first thing that I want to announce or re-announce or re-announce is this Sunday, the 11th of July, 2021, which in India, in Puri, is the day of the Rath Yatra by the Vaishnava calendar itself. That day will be the first inaugural World Sankirtan Day, the International Day of Joy. And we already have about 60 towns and cities across the world that are doing Sankirtan in the streets on that day at different times. So over a 24-hour period, we will be live streaming all of those Sankirtans. So any one time, there may be 5, 10, 15 Sankirtans, 20 Sankirtans going in different parts of the world on every continent: South America, North America, Europe, Africa, Asia, Australasia. About the only place we haven't got represented, there are no penguins in either of the poles yet and no polar bears. But everywhere else, World Sankirtan Day is taking place, and new Sankirtans are being added to our list on a daily basis. Very, very exciting. So we invite you to check into www.worldsankirtanday.com and watch those live streamed Sankirtans. This has never been done before, and it's a celebration of Srila Gurudev's legacy, but it's also totally non-sectarian. What's really, really exciting is that at the grassroots level, actually more than the leadership level, at the grassroots level, in some places, ISKCON and Gurudev devotees are coming together and they're doing Sankirtan together. These walls of sectarianism are breaking down. Sectarianism, frankly, is for dinosaurs, and there are no more dinosaurs. So sectarianism is on the way out and cooperation is on the way in. And World Sankirtan Day is very much a celebration of that, espousing Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Bhakti Samaj, where he says, if a person merely considers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be a great personality, then I'm a member, he's a member of the same society as I am. This is the broad-minded vision. So Bhakti Zoom Seva team would like to encourage anybody who wants to organize a Sankirtan in their local town or city. You can organize a Sankirtan in 24 hours notice. So we've still got 7 days. Go on towards Sankirtan Day. Let us know by just filling out a couple of details. It takes no more than 2 minutes that you want to organize a Sankirtan. And we will send you instructions as to how to live stream that on the day itself. We have a further announcement. We've only just made the decision today. If for any reason, because you are in a remote place, or because for any reason, perhaps COVID lockdowns are in place, especially in places like India right now, or maybe you are in a country which doesn't allow Sankirtan gatherings like China or Russia, then please organize a Sankirtan, even if it's only 2 or 3 of you in your household, and you can live stream that as well. That would be wonderful. And again, please go on World Sankirtan website and just register that you want to do that, and just put in, I want to organize an indoor Sankirtan. So that is World Sankirtan Day. Yashadari is now going to talk about another event, a Guru Praneem 64-hour Zoomathon. And then once she has completed that promotion, we're going to play you a really wonderful video, and then we'll go to our next speaker. Didi.
Okay, Hari, well, thank you so much. So our next, so 2 weeks after that is Guru Purnima in India and in England. I think it's on the 23rd for those in US and going that way towards England, from England or the UK. But we want to organize, me and Yashodhana and Prabhu were thinking about Srila Gurudev and how to please Srila Gurudev and to be able to really satisfy him and make him happy. And the only way we could think of making him happy was to involve all of the acharyas, because Gurudev is not separate from them and nor are they separate from Srila Gurudev. So we are organizing it like we did for Srila Gurudev's 55-hour global glorification. We're doing a very similar event, which is 64 hours, but it will cover 14 acharyas, which includes the likes of Srila Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada, but not only that, Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaji, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaji, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaji, Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Goswami Maharaji, Srila Bhakti Kamal Govinda Goswami Maharaji, Srila Guru Govinda Goswami Maharaj. So many acharyas that have united us and helped us in this path of bhakti, and this is one way of us repaying some sort of homage and offering some pushpanjali to them to thank them for and thank them for their gratitude. So this will start on the 22nd of July, 9 a.m. UK time, and we'll go all the way through to the 24th of July, possibly the 25th if things happen last minute like they always do, which will go all the way to the 24th of July. And we're really hoping that if you feel inspired to speak about your Guru Maharaj, you will come and approach myself, Yashodhana Prabhu, or Shyam Sundari Didi, and we can book you in to come and speak. We've got acharyas from different mats coming to join. We've got acharyas from our own mats coming to join, Vaishnavas. We've got devotees that have been serving Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev. So many are coming, and so we really would be lovely to hear from everyone if we can, or as many people as we can. So this is going out. There's a video that's gone out already, which Yashodhana Prabhu is going to play now, and there's more information coming out as the next couple of days come about. So Yashodhana Prabhu.
Didi, I love the way you pronounced all the Maharajis, and I'd love to time you as to how quickly you do all 14 in one go. I think that's the next challenge.
I skipped half of them.
No, you could do it much quicker than me, and you get them, you pronounce them right. I just want to say it's another, what this event has that's in common with World Sankirtan Day, at the heart of the message, at the heart of the intention, is to please Srila Gurudev. And going back to what Gopal Vrinda was saying at the beginning about the Vani of Srila Gurudev, about reconciling, harmonizing, cooperating. And Srila Prabhupada said, as he was leaving his body, you will show your love for me by how you cooperate. Well, we want to show our love for Srila Gurudev. We want to show our love for Srila Prabhupada. We want to show our love for Parampara by showing not only how we can cooperate together, but how we can encourage cooperation between the Sanghas of Srila Gurudev, between the Sanghas of Srila Gurudev and ISKCON, between the Sanghas of ISKCON and Srila Gurudev and the rest of the Gaudiya Math, because Vaishnavism has got a long way to go to reach its potential. And the way we reach our potential is finding our commonality and overlooking our differences. This is the non-sectarian message. And when we finally behave in a non-sectarian way, rather than just enunciating we're non-sectarian, then the world will look up and take notice. And this movement will make an unprecedented impact on the world, just like Srila Prabhupada enacted back in the 60s. So I'm going to now share my screen. I'm going to show you probably how I'm technologically a little deficient, but here is a wonderful video promoting Guru Purnima, and then we'll go to our third speaker. Are you sure? Just give me thumbs up if you can hear when the sound goes, yeah?
Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. O Gurudev, you are so merciful. I offer my humble obeisances unto you, and I pray from the core of my heart that with the torchlight of divine knowledge you open my eyes that have been blinded by the darkness of ignorance.
One Chaitanya family, please join us for this beautiful event, 22nd of July to the 24th of July. And if you would like to speak and honor your Gurudev, please let us know, Yashadari or myself or Shama Sundari. And by the way, we're particularly looking for devotees. I mean, we're looking for all devotees, obviously from all 14 acharyas, but we're looking for Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj and Govinda Maharaj and Srila Bhakti Vigyan Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bhakti Maharaj. If you know anyone, or if you are a disciple of these three Mahabhagavats, please let us know, and we can schedule you in. I absolutely love that interaction between Srila Gurudev and Tripakar Maharaj. I want to watch that over and over again. It's so cute, the way they interact. Okay, we're back to the speakers. I'm going to hand over to Yashadari, who's going to be introducing the third and fourth speaker, and then we will be having some kirtan from Taruni Dasi to end the program. Shadari, over to you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Yashodananda Prabhu. And you can find the video on our Facebook page, which is Bhakti's Seva Team page. If you are on my Facebook also, it's on there somewhere that you can share as well. Okay, so we move over to our next two speakers. And it gives me great pleasure to invite the next two speakers, because I've seen how much of a phenomenal job she does on some of the seva that she does. It's really, really nice to see. And she didn't write this in her bio, but I've seen that she's been doing a youth program for the young disciples in America, and it's really inspiring. And so our next speaker is Srimati Anuradha Didi, who was born into Krishna consciousness and met the devotees of Srila Gurudev when she was 13 and 14 years old, so quite young when she met Srila Gurudev, and that was in 2006, and then received Harinam in the same year. And then later on, Didi received Diksha from Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj. And like I said, she's a wonderful devotee. I've seen so many things that are happening on her page, and it gives me great joy to invite her to come and speak. Welcome, Didi, and welcome to our program. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Hare Krishna. Well, I have to first beg all of your forgiveness. Can you hear me? Is it good? Okay. Even more shy than myself is my mom. So she unfortunately will not be speaking, but I have her offering that she gave for Srila Gurudev. So I'll be reading that. And at the end sharing, just one small anecdote. So please forgive us. But I'll just start with quick Mangalacharan, and then somehow Srila Gurudev, he'll manifest the words. Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmanitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Kripai Kavitaha Ya Maryada Rakshiti Vaishnavanam Kripavalam Madhava Preshtakami Shri Bhaktidam Bharatim Ashrayamaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Niti Namane Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyate Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So first offering my unlimited Dandava Pranam unto the lotus feet of my Diksha Guru Nitilera Pravishna Vishnupada Sotra Sata Shishmad Shrila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, and the same unlimited Dandava Pranam unto my beloved Srila Gurudev Nityalila Pravishna Vishnupada Sotra Sata Shishmad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and unto all the Rupanuga Guru Varga, unto the Vaishnavas who are, were, and will be, and also unto the entire Bhakti Zoom team, Yashodanand Prabhu, Yashodhari Didi, and so many others who are assisting both of you, and to all the Centennial Seva teams. I know that there's so many, so my pranam to all of you. Hare Krishna. So rightfully so, everyone has mentioned that not only is today the Tirobhav Tithi of Srivas Pandit, but also on a very small note, it's also the Independence Day, or America's birthday. So oftentimes, as Yashodananda Prabhu has said, that this, we can sort of break down these walls of sectarianism and also, focus on cooperation, something Srila Gurudev has desired, something Srila Prabhupada has desired as well. That for so many in this world, especially on a day like this, that they're celebrating their so-called independence, when Srila Prabhupada has actually said that for the conditioned soul, he will always be dependent or under the control of Maya or under the control of Krishna. So he would never be independent. He will never be Swatantra. So all these people, they're, somehow thinking that, they've achieved their independence, but in reality, even on a small level, we're controlled by the iPhone, my phone, controlled by social media, controlled by your boss, your employer, controlled by landlord, controlled by mortgage company, you're controlled by so many things. So when it really comes time for us to become, to remove that control and to direct that that greed to being under the guidance and control of Krishna, then that's when we see that out of many millions of lifetimes of wandering, this very famous verse, then we get the association of a pure devotee, a bona fide representative of the Supreme Lord. And then it's possible that we get this seed of devotional service. Then it's possible that we get this Krishna Prem. And so he can, free us from the clutches of Maya and, direct us, towards this Ashraya Bhagavan, which for our Srila Gurudev, for this entire Rupanu Guru Varga, is Srimati Radhika. So, our main desire is about becoming Anugatya of that Ashraya Bhagavan, of that Ashraya Tattva represented by Shri Guru. So really anything that I'm going to, share today, repeat today, it's for my own edification. It's for my own purification. It's not for, well, if anyone gets any benefit, then that's good. That glorification goes to Srila Gurudev, but it's really, it's not an instruction. It's mostly for me selfishly. And if I make some mistake, please kindly correct me and also forgive me. So I was actually just thinking about this today that, in terms of chanting, I remember when Kishori Mohan Prabhu and Sudevi, they first came to New Jersey. They stayed at my uncle's house and we were discussing about doing Nam Jap. And in doing Nam Jap, that even in between that, if you're sitting in a closet, you're completely focused and then you're calling out loudly, Ha Gurudev, Ha Gurudev. That in this way we can, ask and beg Srila Gurudev that please come and help us. My mind is wandering hither and thither, that please come and help us. That if we're not praying loudly like this, oh Gurudev, and again I'm saying this to myself, that oh Vaishnav Thakur, that kindly make me eligible to become a servant of yourself, to kindly make me a servant of Sri Nitai Gaurachandra, kindly make me a servant of Sri Radha and Krishna. So in essence, we're saying, if we're not praying like this, we're saying that, don't give me what you have come to give, that rather give me only what I want. that you are, as they say, like man proposes, God disposes. So instead of praying to Srila Gurudev in this way, in a very humble, submissive mood, and saying that, oh Gurudev, please give me what you have come to give. This Nikunji Yuno Ratikali Siddhyai. Please come to give me this thing. But instead we're praying, or at least instead I'm praying only, no, just give me what I want. I want temporary happiness. I want, some peace. I want to be able to pay my bills, all of these different things. So really the mindset should change. And again, I'm saying this to myself. Srila Gurudeva Memories, he says that Gauranga Mahaprabhu, that he teaches us, he says that Krishna is a theoretical teacher, Krishna is a theoretical speaker, but Gauranga Mahaprabhu is a practical teacher. So Krishna came in the form as Mahaprabhu, as we know, to be able to teach us how to surrender to Krishna, to be able to develop this bhakti towards Krishna, this Krishna prem, and how to cry for Krishna. And so we know from Srila Maharaj, and we also know from our entire Gaudiya Guru Varga, that this one point that you can not cry for Krishna if you have not cried for Sri Guru. And so Srila Gurudeva Maharaj has always mentioned about opening up this crying school, that we must enter into the university of Sri Rup Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami. So until you % that you're becoming Sharanagat unto Sri Guru, then you can develop that Sharanagati to Krishna. And actually, that developing Sharanagati to Krishna, you are developing that already when you become Sharanagat to Guru. So, we chant, Swagatam Gurudev, Sharanagatam Gurudev. So we're saying welcoming and surrendering, to Sri Gurudev from the depths of our heart, to Sri Gurudev, that perform some heart surgery and to make our hearts the sitting place for his own Ishtadev, which, is always in his heart. So Srila Gurudev, he has said many times that he wants to give everything that is in his heart. Not only 25%, 50%, 75%, no, fully everything that is in his heart. He asked Srimati Shamani Didi that, can you paint my heart? And we see the same heart tirtha of Sevakunj, that where Srila Prabhupada said that it is in this room, in Radha Damodar Mandir, that this is my eternal residence. So we see Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, they've given us everything, completely, everything, fully. My vessel for receiving that mercy is full of holes. So big holes, small holes, this hole, that hole, many different things. So all of that nectar is slowly seeping out. But I'm praying that by the mercy of Srila Gurudev, mercy of the Srila Prabhupada and the Gaudiya Guru Varga, and also of the Vaishnavas especially, their blessings, that it becomes possible that slowly, slowly those holes can be patched up. Slowly, slowly I can rise to the occasion and actually become a real disciple of Srila Gurudev. But again, we see that Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev in succession, like waves, that are crashing one after the other. You see in the ocean, they've given everything, one installment, and then finally second installment. And then there will be third installment, fourth installment, like that. The acharyas, they leave something for the next acharya to be able to come and elucidate on and illustrate. So something, like we see in Srila Gurudev's bhajans, Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman, and also Gurudev Kripa Karke. So I'm just going to read their translations because they're just so incredibly beautiful. And Srila Gurudev has encapsulated so much, of offering to the lotus feet of of his own Gurudev within these bhajans. So he's saying that, oh mind, just worship the lotus feet of Gurudev. Without Gurudev's mercy, we have no strength in our sadhan. Therefore, oh mind, worship and serve him at every moment. Without coming to Sri Guru in this rare human birth, we are simply wandering about these 14 planes. Oh, how fortunate we are to have come to him, to get the darshan of Sri Hari's devotee. Sri Guru is the blissful embodiment of Krishna's mercy and the reservoir of compassion for the destitute souls. He enlightens us in bhakti, bhav, and prem, and is the savior of the fallen. All the shrutis, smritis, and puranas describe Sri Guru's glories. Offering my body, mind, and very life to the lotus feet of Sri Guru, I incessantly sing Sri Harinam. And then Gurudev Kripa Karke, that Gurudev bestow your mercy on me and accept me as your own. I have taken shelter of you. Please give me a place at your lotus feet. Please shower your mercy on me because you are renowned as a storehouse of mercy. O my Lord, only then will my sleeping fortune wake up. My boat is caught in a whirlpool. Please take me across this turbulent ocean. You are the ocean of happiness and shelter for bhakti. You are dearer to me than my life and are always on my mind. I chant your name every day. Please ignore my faults. I am a servant of the Vaishnavas and of the lotus feet of my Guru. Please do not forget me, because I am all alone, O Lord. I am a beggar at your door. Please do not ignore me. So Srila Gurudev has fully described what it means to be Sharanagat at the lotus feet of Sri Guru. Complete surrender unto such a Vaishnav, unto a Vaishnav who is Anya Vilasita, meaning that his very being, his very life, his activities, they're all meant for Krishna's happiness, all meant only for Krishna's pleasure. So if we surrender unto that Guru, unto that Vaishnav Guru, and who we hear from, this Granth Bhagavad, we hear how to practically apply all of the instructions that all of the scriptures describe. Then, and also that this particular Guru Vaishnav, or Vaishnav Guru, that he is always engaged in the fire of separation from Shri Radha and Krishna. So by simply association and hearing from such a Vaishnav, that we also feel the heat of that fire of separation just from hearing from them, just by being in their close association. But even if we don't have their close association, like for example, I only had maybe 3 instances of actually physically being with Srila Gurudev. So I cannot speak so much on that, about being with Srila Gurudev for many, many years. However, that especially after Srila Gurudev's disappearance is when you, at least for me, when it really dawned on me that, oh, you know, as Jaganatha Prabhu explained, I wish that I had more time with Srila Gurudev, but even so, that hearing about Srila Gurudev from his disciples, from his, you know, sannyasis, his generals, you know, all who he's, you know, all his limbs that he has sent out here and there, from Kishori Mohan Prabhu, Sudevi Didi, so many, that you feel even more connected to Srila Gurudev than if you were physically in front of you. So I remember just even hearing so many different pastimes from Sripad Siddhanti Maharaj. He would speak in Hindi so sweetly, and tears would just be flowing and flowing and flowing. And I'm thinking, oh, Gurudev he's right here. He's never left. Gurudev has always said, I'm closer to you than the air that you breathe. No, we need to actually have firm faith in that. Gurudev has never left. He's within the hearts of those who are nikat, those who are very near and dear to him. So I'm constantly trying to remind myself that my Gurudev has never left. He is always with me. So we pray in these ways, using these bhajans as a way to go deeper into the mood of Srila Gurudev, into the mood of Srila Narottam Das Thakur, into the mood of Srila Lochan Das Thakur, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, so that we can truly see what the wealth of the disciple is. The wealth of the disciple is Sri Guru Charana Padma, that is the lotus feet of Sri Guru. Not only that, but is also Sri Guru Deva Tatma, thinking that Gurudev is more to me than my own life. He's more to me than my everything. Do I have, how much time do I have? I have more time. Okay. So I also wanted to read something else. It's regarding the nature of the guileless servant. It's not very long. But this was also something that really moved me. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada was asked this one question, that what is the nature of the guileless servant or of Sri Guru? And so he says that were a servant of Sri Guru truly selfless, he would consider Sri Guru to be Devatatma. That is, he would consider him to be non-different from the Supreme Lord, Devata, and the one person truly worthy of his love and affection, dearer like his own Atma. And he would also foster the conception or belief that Srila Gurudev is my eternal master and I am his eternal servant. Service to Sri Guru would be his very life. It would be his ornament and his existence. He knows nothing but Sri Guru. Under all circumstances, while he is sleeping or dreaming or eating or engaged in bhajan, he is always thinking of Sri Gurudev, taking his guidance and following in his footsteps. He knows that Sri Gurudev, who is very dear to Sri Krishna, is completely independent and is Ishvara Vastu, an entity non-different from the Supreme Controller, Sri Bhagavan. I pray that whether or not Srila Gurudev accepts my service as I am unqualified, I shall always remain present to render service exclusively to him by all means, through my mind, body, and words. If he rejects me, I shall know that I am unqualified, but Srila Gurudev is truth. So my sole prayer is this: may temporary sensual pleasures never distract me from serving Srila Gurudev, who is the eternal truth. May they not make me averse to serving him, not even for a second. May Srila Gurudev mercifully accept my service, and may I never fall into bad association and thus be deprived of his association. Although I am unqualified, my sole recourse is the fact that he is especially compassionate to those who are the most unqualified. Thus, with the hope of receiving his causeless compassion, my greed to engage in his service increases more and more. Wow. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki jai. Still, like, I read this and I still feel the impact, because he, again, from Srila Gurudev to, his own Param Gurudev, that you see this service of Sri Guru is so paramount. Without the service of Sri Guru, it's impossible to serve Krishna. This we know. But understanding that full surrender to Sri Guru is this, that we say that, Srila Gurudeva said that Sharanagati is the doorway to bhakti. But if bhakti is within the heart of Sri Guru, then so Sharanagati is a doorway to bhakti, is a doorway to the lotus feet of Sri Guru, which is then the doorway to Sharanagati to Krishna. So we have to first approach Guru in all circumstances, and this is just so incredibly sweet. And this year, yourself included, we've seen, basically hundreds of thousands of disciples, grand disciples, well-wishers of Srila Gurudev. They're serving Srila Gurudev on his centennial year, serving Srila Prabhupada on his quasi-centennial year. So by his mercy, all of this is happening. By all of your sincere endeavor, all of this is happening. So we're so grateful that we can engage like this. I'm so grateful for devotees like you who are, staying up into the late hours and, coordinating these programs, facilitating all of these things. It's absolutely incredible. Srila Gurudev is giving so much mercy, so much Shakti to all of you. And even then, Srila Gurudev's mercy, even prior to this year, has already been spreading, that his heart in the form of Seva Kunj is in so many devotees' homes, regardless of institution. And that this Gaudiya Geet Guch also everywhere, because it contains all of the very prominent, it's the most comprehensive songbook that is in all Vaishnav institutions. His books have gone everywhere. That the bhajan by Srila Gurudev, Brajajana Manasukakari Radhe Shama Shama Sham, it's also sung, also even other institutions. So the disciple is literally seeing that his Gurudev is everywhere. He's seeing his Guru's grace is everywhere. He's seeing his Gurudev's hand in everything. So thus we see that, the Srila Narottam Das Thakur in his Sri Guru Charana Padma unto his own Gurudev, that in parentheses at the very end, it says, Eva Jashe Kushuk Tribhuvan, that now your fame will be spread all over the three three worlds. So we're seeing Srila Gurudev's fame is being spread completely everywhere. But not only is what you said before, Didi, that what would please Srila Gurudev the most is by not glorifying him, but is glorifying the entire Guru Parampara. So this Vyas Puj is glorifying Srila Vyasadeva, is glorifying all of our acharyas, and not neglecting them. And also Shri Dvaipana Vyas, who is not only that is Shri Krishna, so glorifying the Lord ultimately. So we see that even for these occasions, that by glorifying Srila Gurudev, it's one thing, but even more so glorifying his own guru, glorifying his guru's guru, glorifying, going up the disciplic line, that this is what is most pleasing, and this is sort of the emphasis of Srila Gurudev's glory and mahima. So something further is, I still have a little bit of time, right? So something further is Srila Gurudev's emphasis that we are Rupanug. So Srila Gurudev repetitively and very emphatically states that Srila Prabhupada is Rupanug, 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 in full, not in part, in full, meaning going towards Madhurya Ras. And Srila Prabhupada himself, even in the preface of the Nectar of Instruction, even he himself reveals that he is Rupanug, in saying that this Krishna consciousness movement is conducted under the guidance of Srila Rupa Goswami. So is Srila Prabhupada not Krishna conscious? Of course he's Krishna conscious. So therefore he is also Rupanug. And then Srila Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, he states something actually very quite astonishing. He says that all Gaudiya Vaishnavas are Rupanug on the basis of Bhagavad Parampara only. On the basis of Bhagavad Parampara only. That he asks, how many people did Srila Rupa Goswami initiate through the Pancharatrika method? That only Srila Jiva Goswami is his direct disciple, his Diksha disciple. But how is it so that the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, like Srila Gurudev, like Srila Prabhupada, like us also, how is it that on this basis that entire Gaudiya Vaishnava community can accept Srila Rupa Goswami as their guru? How is it possible? So he says that Srila Rupa Goswami himself also was not a direct Diksha disciple of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even Srila Sanatan Goswami, who is the Siksha Guru of Srila Rupa Goswami, that even then, he will not even for a second say that he is not Rupanug. So I just wanted to read just one quick thing from that same lecture. That's the basis, or excuse me, that who is the Pancharatrika Diksha Guru of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. He has not mentioned the name of his Pancharatrika Diksha Guru in any of his literatures. He has described the names of his Siksha Gurus in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi 137. E Chaya Guru Shiksha Guru Ye Amar, Tan Sabar Pade Padma Koti Namaskar. I offer millions of obeisances at the lotus feet of these 6 Siksha Gurus of mine. And at the end of each chapter of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is written, Shri Rupa Raghunath Pade Yara Asha Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishna Dasa. I, Krishna Das, whose aspiration is to attain the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Raghunath, narrate Chaitanya Charitamrita. By these statements, he has accepted Shri Rupa Goswami and Shri Raghunath Das Goswami as his main Siksha Gurus. Thus, he has also accepted them as his Gurus on the basis of Bhagavad Parampara. From these facts, it becomes thoroughly obvious that Bhagavad Parampara, which includes Pancharatric Parampara, always shines forth brilliantly. Therefore, whoever ignores these facts and casts aspersions upon the Guru Pranali of Sri Baladev Vidibhushan, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and whoever doubts that they are Rupanug, is certainly a staunch opponent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and a secret agent of Kali. So these words, I mean, so incredibly strong. Srila Param Gurudev is writing. Even also Srila Narottam Das Thakur, he is not a disciple of Srila Rup or Raghunath Das Goswamis. Our Srila Gurudev is not a Diksha disciple of Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So this Bhagavad Parampara is so incredibly important that this is how we can even call ourselves Rupanug. So Srila Narottam Das Thakur, he always is praying that Rupa Raghunath Pade Hai Beyakuti Kabe Hame Bhujava Se Jugala Piriti Rupa Raghunath Pade Rahu More Asha Prarthana Kore Sava Narottama Das. That first, Srila Gurudev has always said that we are aspiring to be servants of Rupa Raghunath, specifically of Raghunath Goswami. Why? Because he is the foremost Rupanugacharya. He is always following after the lotus feet of Sri Rup Goswami, Sri Rup Manjari. And this Rati Manjari, Rup Manjari, they're very close in seva. And Rati Manjari is always asking and hinting and praying to Sri Rup Manjari that please engage me in service to our Swamini Srimati Radhika. So we see this importance of Rupanug, and it only really came to light, not even just from Srila Prabhupada's time, but it was heavily hammered into us by Srila Gurudev so much because of this staunch nature, and also because of needing to understand what is our actual prayojan, what is our actual goal of this life. So we're so completely indebted to Srila Gurudev for being able to highlight this for us. So now I just want to read my mom's glorification, and then I have time?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do have time. I just wanted to can I just say a couple of things about what you said? Because
Yes.
you were absolutely phenomenal. What Harikatha that you've just spoken is like, it's like Gurudev has, there's so many people, there's so many disciples I meet of Srila Gurudev, and I see those that have spent less time with Srila Gurudev have this fire in them. I don't know what Gurudev's done, but he's added this massive amount of fire in them that they're able to really push themselves to get to know Srila Gurudev in so many different forms. And I think that Gurudev's done that with you. It's just, what you've just spoken is incredible. You went from speaking about how we're not independent, but under the control of Maya, and you took us to so many, like, talked about how we need to surrender onto Srila Gurudev, and actually doing that we're able to really actually grow in bhakti. And then from that you went and you really went into it. Actually, you didn't even just minutely do it, you really delved into that whole process of Sarnagati and getting that right. And then you said something really wonderful about Seva Kunj, and how Srila Prabhupada also said that this is my eternal home, and how Srila Gurudev has also put Seva Kunj everywhere to the world. So they're all hand in hand, and you can tell this is what, when people see difference and in things. And I always look at Srila Gurudev, and I always see that our Srila Gurudev was so accepting, and he was so loving. He never restricted anyone, from everything that I've seen of him, know of him, he accepted me. I mean, I'm the worst probably of them all. So no. if he accepted, no, trust me. But if he accepted me, I think to myself, okay, he must be accepting to so many if he's done that with me. So it really highlights that about Srila Gurudev, that actually they're all the same. Our Guru Parampara are not separate. They can never be separate. If they are like honey and it's running honey, it's not broken. It can't be broken unless someone tries to put their finger across it, and even then the honey goes over. It still doesn't break. So this is our Guru Varg, and you beautifully described that and beautifully established that. And Gurudev, you took that mood of Srila Gurudev and established that. So I'm really grateful to you. And also, you spoke about glorifying Srila Gurudev, and how through glorifying to be able to glorify Srila Gurudev, you know, we glorify our Guru Parampara, and actually it takes us all the way back to Krishna. By glorifying one after the other, we always go back to Krishna. And this is the essence, and this is the beauty of Guru Parampara, that it takes us all the way back without hesitation. And then finally, you did the most phenomenal job, which is encapsulating the concept of Rupa Goswami and what he came to give us, and how Gurudev established this, because this was something that was so close to Gurudev's heart. Rupa Goswami and Jaganatha Goswami, you know, he every single lecture that I've probably heard where it's been a while, he always somehow or another, it's like he always spoke about the gopis, and he always spoke about Rupa Goswami, always, without hesitation. And this is the absolute beauty of him, and you've done a phenomenal, I can't even explain to you. So you should preach more, because you've done it. You were so engaging that I just wanted to continue listening to you, if I'm being really honest. But you know, thank you so much. And I know now you're going to read your mum's Pushpanjali, but I just wanted to, when she does get a chance to listen to this, just tell her that her family is always here, and we're always waiting to hear from her. So if she ever feels inspired to speak, just to contact me or Yashodananda Prabhu, and she can come at any point.
Thank you so much, Didi. Thank you. Yeah, Srila Gurudev is so incredible that, you know, he can, you know, take someone who is, you know, like how you see the Lord, you know, what he's doing, he can turn a king into a pauper and turn a pauper into a king. So Srila Gurudev is, you know, just small thing, you know, so low self-esteem and, you know, hardly saying anything. But this is, you see how Srila Gurudev really impacts and gives his mercy, that someone who was unable to speak in one time, but Srila Gurudev gives all conception. Srila Prabhupada also, you know, Srila Gurudev would say this, that who has given you your conception? And, you know, different devotees would say different names and think, oh, they spoke like this, spoke like this. He said, no, I have given you your conception. So we have completely indebted to Srila Gurudev. Any words that come, if they're the correct words, then somehow it's all Gurudev's mercy. So I'm very, you know, I'm completely indebted. So my mom's offering, and then just one, if there's some small time, I just want to share just one like personal thing. So she starts out with Mangalacharan. So I won't necessarily go into that. And then she goes into Shri Guru Vandana, which is by Vaishnav Das, Jai Jai Shri Guru, Prema Kalpataru. And so she had listed the whole bhajan. And then she says, Srila Gurudev, this bhajan resonates with me as you mercifully gave me Harinam, as you mercifully gave Harinam initiation to someone as unqualified and undeserving as me, as well as the invaluable jewels of Sri Vrindavan Dham. You brought the holy Dham with you and impressed it within the hearts of your disciples. Srila Gurudev, you came and carried the torch from Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, helping this whole world in such a short time. Just in the bhajan of Srila Narottam Das Thakur, Shri Guru Charana Padma, you removed ignorance with the torchlight of knowledge. Similar to our Srila Prabhupada, you swiftly dispelled any misconceptions and doubts, allowing your disciples to grow deeper and deeper in their connection, as I also have. I can see the difference in my own life ever since you laid your penetrating gaze on me. Gurudev, you have given everything to us. You increased our love for our Swamini, Srimati Radhika. You are always there to answer my questions and doubts that arise in all forms, as you are truly closer than the air we breathe. I especially have seen this during audio seva. At times when I am feeling down, I remember you stating, don't be hopeless, don't be weak. Oh Gurudev, Please give me the strength to become serious in this lifetime, as you instructed, so I may one day be eligible to serve our Swamini under your guidance. O Gurudev, Kripa Karke, I am alone. Please never let me go, and keep me at your lotus feet always. Oh. Let me cling to your lotus feet and never let them go, no matter how many births I may take. Although I am undeserving of your mercy, please let me become a true disciple, a disciple you can be proud of, someone who is worthy of your mercy. Your fallen servant, Sunita Dasi. So that's her glorification. And so I just wanted to share just one, small anecdote about really the, Srila Gurudev being Tri Kalagya, meaning that he is a knower of past, present, and future. And so my uncle, his name is Rajiv Lochan Prabhu. One time he was, basically weeping in front of Srila Prabhupada, and he was praying to Srila Prabhupada that please give me, that I want a guru like you, that please send me a guru like you. And so we see, Srila Gurudev, he met Srila Gurudev in I think maybe 2000, 2001 or 2002. First, Bhumipati Prabhu, Dandi Maharaj, Puru Prabhu, they came to his house just unexpectedly, and they were able to talk to him about Srila Gurudev, and so we see that his prayer it came true, and then naturally he actually took a initiation, both Harinam and Diksha, and then Srila Gurudev said to bring your whole family. And so my uncle did that. He brought his parents, he brought my mother, his siblings, he brought he brought me, and so my uncle definitely did his seva. He did his part in serving Srila Gurudev like that. And then when I was, this is sort of backtracking, prior to Srila Gurudev, before I met Srila Gurudev, that I was maybe around 10 or 11, and my mom somehow always had affinity towards Srimati Radhika. I don't know exactly why. She would be able to tell you, but now we see in our philosophy why. But at that time, I was not thinking anything like this. I did not know anything like this. So, but she had this strong affinity. And so one day I asked her, I said that, Srimati Radhika always gives her mercy to you, that when will I have her mercy? And so then she told me, well, you can pray for her mercy. You can pray to her for her mercy. Of course you can have it. But I didn't realize in what form her mercy would come. And just a few short years later, when I was 15, then Srila Gurudev appears. And I remember that my aunt, my great aunt, Dr. Ashalata Pandey, she had pleaded with Srila Gurudev and begged him, please come to my home, come to my home. So for one day, Srila Gurudev, between his trip from America to India, he came to her home. And so the entire house was just filled with saffron, just sannyasis, brahmacharis, all the entourage that Srila Gurudev traveled with, everyone was there. And also that evening we did a program, they had organized a program at the Hindu Mandir in Staten Island. So, just hundreds of devotees came. I mean, from ISKCON, from, so many. And I remember we were waiting in one room because Srila Gurudev was in the master bedroom. So with Madhur Maharaj and Jaganatha Prabhu and Ramachandra Prabhu. So we were all waiting. And, I was getting nervous. My mother's nervous. Everyone's so nervous. And, then finally we were called in. And my late grandfather at that time, he only suffered one stroke at that time. At that time, he was still alive. And his name was Narayan Das. And so I remember he was one of the first to walk in. And the first thing that he did when he walked in was, he offered full Shastang Dandava Pranam, and he said, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj ki jai. And it was like the first, to see my own grandfather, who I looked up to, and to see that he was, offering this pranam to Srila Gurudev like this. And so I said that surely this personality must be so special. But again, I was 15, foolish, ignorant, not knowing, just public school going girl. And I just remember Srila Gurudev, there was some glow, there was some effulgence about him. I couldn't necessarily tell what it was, but he was glowing. And at that time, my mother had already taken Harinam, and she said to Gurudev that you please also give my daughter initiation. And so her role as a mother became safal in that moment. It became successful because she offered me at the lotus feet of Srila Gurudev. And so I came close to Srila Gurudev. I was like inches from him. And he asked me my name. I said, my name is Asha Jyoti. And he said, okay, Anuradha Dasi. And so, I, again, coming back to that question that I had asked my mom about when will I receive Srimati Radhika's mercy? And here I'm seeing her associate, her own personal kinkari, and receiving this name Anuradha Dasi from Srila Gurudev. I mean, completely just so, just mind-boggling. It's not obviously a coincidence. That relationship with Guru is eternal. And so this is exemplifying how Srila Gurudev is Trikalagya. Shri Guru is just the knower of all of these things. So he knew this. And then that same day, Ramchandra Prabhu, he had said, she sings like a kukaya, cuckoo bird. And so, then Srila Gurudev, he said, okay, she will lead the first kirtan. And I'm thinking, what just happened? I received the beautiful name, and now I have service to Srila Gurudev. But again, even probably I was 10 times more nervous then than I probably am right now. My, just heart was beating out of my chest. Again, even more so than it is now. But going into the assembly of devotees, I sat maybe towards off to the side. And I'm thinking, okay, well, Srila Gurudev, maybe he forgot, I can sit and, I don't have to do it. But no, Srila Gurudev, he pointed to me. And then he told me to come and sit. And so I sat next to my great uncle, who had been singing at that time, Nadiya Godrume, Nityananda Mahajan. And so then I was going to sing Radha Krishna Pranamore. And so just Srila Gurudev is just so completely, miraculous, magical, however we can place it in English terms, but he's so much more than that. Like when they had put a crown on Srila Prabhupada in New Vrindavan, then they said, this is a nice sentiment, but Srila Prabhupada is so much more than this. So no matter, I don't really have the words to glorify Srila Gurudev, but somehow in some small attempt, if I've been able to glorify Srila Gurudev, then I'm hopeful and thankful that it's due to the mercy of all the Vaishnavas present here, and it's also due to the mercy of Srila Gurudev. So vancha kalpatirubhasha kripasanubhevacha patitanam bhavaneva Vaishnavebhyo namo. Thank you.
I'll speak about your Sunita Didi's Pushpanjali. Can I just say, if she ever wants to come on our program, ever, you just let her know that she's more than welcome at any point. Because what she wrote in that Pushpanjali, number one, gave me goosebumps, and I nearly cried. But I get told off for crying in public, so I have to contain myself now. But it was incredible, and you can. Some people are good at speaking, and some people are good at writing to express themselves. And I bet your mom is good at both, because what she expressed, I could never write that in a Pushpanjali, but how she expressed her love and affection for Srila Gurudev is just beyond my comprehension, that she was able to do that in such a way, in a poetic way. She's just just offer my dandavat pranams to her and just say thank you so much for taking the time to write such beautiful words to Srila Gurudev, because if anything out of anyone that's listening is Srila Gurudev's listening. I feel like Gurudev is always ever so present in our Sunday programs. It feels like sometimes he's looking like, okay, what are they going to say today? What are they going to say about me today? How are they going to express? And it just feels like he's watching and listening to this. And he'll just be so happy. I feel joyous, and I feel like Gurudev would be happy, because it's almost like you can feel sometimes when he's a bit happy. I don't know how to explain it anyways, but it was just wonderful. And your experience, we had Prabhu come and speak a couple of weeks ago, and he explained, a beautiful pastimes as well, and it was very, very nice to hear that. And I didn't realize that you were Asha auntie's niece.
Great niece,
Great niece.
yeah.
She's wonderful also. I've spent some time with her. She's wonderful as well. So you are really surrounded, and I think you're really protected by such wonderful Vaishnavas, and how fortunate. I sometimes wish that I was born in a Vaishnav family. To be growing up like that is a different path altogether, but how wonderful. And actually each member of your family sound as wonderful as each other in their own unique way. And like I said, Didi, before, you've just done a phenomenal job of really encapsulating Srila Gurudev. And I'm just really grateful to you. I don't know if Yashodananda Prabhu wants to add anything to that. No, okay. So thank you so much for coming in and taking your time to speak with us. You were super amazing. And hopefully we can do some seva together, or if I can do some seva for you, that'd be wonderful.
No. together.
I'm better at the for someone, but yeah, you can lead and I'll follow. I'm better at like that.
No. Hari Bol, thank you.
Hari Bol. So we will ask now Taruni Didi to finish our class with a small Maha Mantra. If you're there, Taruni Didi.
Hare Krishna Danava Pranams.
Hari Bol.
Okay. Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshuramritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Panchakalpatarubhishya Vipasantubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Ramo Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Ramo Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Ramo Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Shri Gurudev, Jai Shri Prabhupada, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.